All right, Sunset Rewind, special off-season edition. Have some very special guests here today with us, Coach.
Yeah, we got the new head coach from Corona Del Mar, Coach Hettig, Kevin Hettig. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
thanks for coming
Coach.
in.
Guys, thanks for having us.
Got Coach John Griffin. You want to introduce one of your top assistant freshman coaches?
Yeah, so John Griffin is the cornerstone of the CdM football program and has kind of been a huge part of what we've built over the last 12 years. So the man, the myth.
Coach, what's your record?
We're in trouble.
Coach, I saw your record, so you don't have to be humble. What's your?
I don't know the exact numbers, so.
You remember Coach Patios?
Well, I do because I have a cheat sheet in front of me. It was 119, 6-1 over 13 years, 8 undefeated seasons.
119, 6-1. So you can almost count the losses on one hand.
I can't because my wife reminds me of them all the time, specifically how they were lost due to bad coaching.
Well, who was the tie against? Do you remember that one?
Palos Verdes.
PP.
The other
there.
Sea Kings.
Yep.
The other
Okay.
Sea Kings.
Yep. That was another one where the coaching screwed up things.
Right. So now, are you going to stick around for this next generation of coaches, right? We got a couple more years in you? All right, awesome.
I love it.
So, Coach, first of all, again, congratulations. The first question I have for you, and this isn't really so much about your coaching, who is the DJ at CdM on the sidelines? Is it
That
a
kid
student,
is
a guy,
awesome.
girl? I love that person.
What's funny is we've had a few different guys in there the last few years. Michael Dobbins, our ASB director, kind of set that thing up, and we always have someone super talented just gets it rocking.
We film your games, and in between plays, they'll start.
Oh, it's awesome.
I'll start recording the songs and
the
call my
best.
buddies like, dude, they're playing stuff
It's-
that we
it's
listen
the
to back.
best.
in the
We're
day.
up on the roof usually filming, and we'll be standing there and be like, there'll be some downtime, and he'll look at me and go, dude. And we're like, oh my God.
Yeah, there it gets.
Like, it was like we're in college again.
Well, somebody find out and put in the comments, please. We've been asking that question since the start of the show, and it goes back to Battle of the Bay. And anyway, we've been trying to find that
that's
out.
good.
So my first real question for you is: you're replacing a very good friend, and in Coach OShea, who did so many great things. But at the same time, it's now your program. Are there any things you want to kind of change or implement to put your stamp on it, or is it more about kind of keeping it as is?
Well, the core values of the program, they are what they are. It's something that we've spent a long time kind of building, and that doesn't change. That doesn't veer off path. There will be some small changes here and there. It was kind of operated as two separate. We had a kind of an offensive side and a defensive side, and that's going to come together a little bit more. But little schedule things here, little things there. But no, I mean this is we spent too long building this thing to scrap it
To
and
make
start
wholesale
over.
changes. Is the majority of your staff going to come back?
All of them, everybody.
Are they all
that's
on-campus
awesome.
teachers?
No, we have a bunch of them. We're fortunate. We have 5 or 6 guys on campus that help at all the different levels, and yeah, I mean we're so lucky. We have such a supportive administration and the staff, the school, everybody's great, and so we're keeping it as is.
How intense was the interview process? I mean, did they really reach out, or did they kind of know, look, we got a good thing going, like you said, and we're going to keep this in-house, and you were kind of the heir apparent, or did it make the most sense?
There wasn't, as when Danny made his decision, and it came quick for all of us.
Was that a surprise to everybody, I'm assuming? or-
I mean, he's my best friend in the world, and it was a surprise to me, and then it all happened so fast, you
Right.
know. And as far as the transition piece, it was kind of, there wasn't a hiccup in it. It was just, hey, this is what we're going to do. Let's go.
It was a clean break and made the most sense.
It made the most sense.
Now, you guys got your start together at Tribuca Hills, correct?
Yeah.
Is that how you met him?
Yeah, so I met him. We were at it was funny. I was student teaching there at 22 years old, and I hadn't been in football. I've been out of football. I played in high school, and that was it.
Right.
And he was actually in a classroom that I was student teaching in, and he was prepping for his next period, and then he had an old VHS, like a game film on, and I walk in, I'm like, hey, this guy seems cool. We talked to each other for 15, 20 minutes, and then he's like, I need to introduce you to Jason Negro. Jason was just getting going at Tribuca. I think it was his 2nd or 3rd year there. And I sat down with Jay. I was like, hey, I'd love to. I was coaching baseball. I was going to be coaching baseball.
What a
there,
coaching
and
staff that was.
It was unbelievable.
Like, I mean, you talk about like coaching trees and everything.
It was unbelievable.
How many guys on that staff went on to become head coaches
I mean,
themselves?
Jason, Chad, Danny, obviously myself now. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but all of them. I mean, that staff was incredible.
Yeah.
We had a great time, and we were all. I mean, everybody was kind of figuring it out, right? We had to look down the street at Mission Viejo and Bob Johnson was figuring it out and getting it done, and okay, how do we compete with that? And it was an awesome staff. And the most important thing with that staff, and this is something that we still kind of go by today, is there's good and bad football coaches on the field that know X's and O's or whatever, but
Right.
it takes great people to make a great program, and we've held to that, and we continue. We still will. That we're going to hire you as a person before we hire you as a coach.
Well, you're the son of a coach as well,
Right,
correct?
right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What did your father coach?
So he coached. He was a high school baseball coach out there for decades.
At Yucca Valley.
Out there,
out
oh,
in the high desert. I'm sorry,
Right.
out in the high desert. And then he was also in the 70s and 80s. He came up. He was a football coach as well. He was a head football coach out there for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
When I was real little, and then
He's
he
on
was
the staff
phenomenal.
now.
And he's on the staff now. He's our get back.
Oh, he's
coach.
still with you. So
yeah,
he's
he's
the
the best.
get back.
Yeah, he's got the most thankless job in,
Right.
in football.
yeah.
But it's funny because we'll be, this year being down on the field, you see him fire on somebody, and you're like, oh, okay, there he is. That's the dad I know, getting all fired up, getting the guy back. But,
So did you always want to be you grew up in a household where your father was a coach. Did you always want to be a coach? Was that like a career path you looked at, or did you just kind of, stumble into it?
Yeah, I love sports. I think there's so much to learn about life and about
Absolutely.
in general. I saw the power of it in the way my dad connected with athletes, and there was an option there when I was done. It was going to be either teach and coach or go to law school when I was done at UC San Diego.
Oh, wow.
And
It's quite a different
quite a
career
different
path, right?
And my family's all in education, and I was going to be the one to break away, and I kind of pulled the plug on that and said, no, I'm going to do this teaching and coaching thing. Thought baseball was going to be the sport I was going to kind of fall in love with coaching. But when I got around those guys at Tribuco, that changed things pretty quick.
Did you actually play baseball for your dad in high school?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, wow.
Which was
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade that experience for anything in the world.
Yeah, that had to have been
it was-
really
it was
cool.
Great. It was
Yeah.
great. And there's downsides to it. And he was harder on me probably than
Right,
other people.
right.
But it was awesome. I mean, it was the shared memories and the shared experience that we have that we could still go back and talk about was special.
That's awesome.
So you got your start at Tribuco. How did you and OShea end up at Corona Del Mar? How did that whole transition
Okay,
break down?
so we were with Jay at Tribuco. Danny was already coaching there when I was just student teaching there, and then when they hired me at Tribuco, they kind of created a spot for me. This is before 08, so this is when there were still teaching jobs that they could kind of
Right,
pick
right,
up and stuff.
right.
So they created a spot for me to keep me on, and which I'm still to this day super thankful for.
Right.
And then we were there 4 years with Jay. We had a ton of success. I was like semis first year, lost to Elda second year, semis third year, and then lost to La Habra in the stadium the fourth year. That was just awesome with him with those Kazan.
Oh,
those
those
guys.
La Habra
Oh,
teams
yeah.
are
We ran into them
incredible.
the round before.
You guys remember
Coach
them.
Mazzotta's
Came
got a
up
great
short.
program
Yeah,
over
he
there.
is. He still does. He still rocks it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were there those 4 years, and then I remember before the final game our last year, Jay's like, "Hey, I'm going to Bosco, guys," and there was talk about, hey, what assistants were going to make the drive. I wasn't going to leave my public school teaching job.
You're
Neither
rolling the
was
dice
Danny.
because
Right,
you
right.
might get a
Big
bump,
Right,
but
and
you
neither
better
was,
win.
and Danny wasn't either, and we knew Chad was going to go with Jay, and then Jimmy, our line coach, Jimmy Adams, our line coach, was going to go up there too, and it was like, okay, well, Danny ought to hold the fort down. We were kind of the interim there until the hiring process worked out. Well, Scott Meyer, who was later the next head coach at CdM, had the job, we thought, lined up, and we were going to roll it each side of the ball. Dan was going to run the defense, I was
Right.
running the offense. We were going to go, and we were all set. There was something that snagged late in the process with Scott. There's some hiring deal, and then Orloff came in
From Dana Hills.
From Dana
Right.
Hills.
Yep.
And he had his own guys that he wanted to bring in, and which totally respectable, totally get it. And so we were going to take a step back. So that year in 2010, Dan and I are like, and we've been grinding. I mean, this was, we were grinding for those 4 years as assistants.
Working 7 days a
Yeah,
week,
exactly.
yeah.
And we're like, hey, let's have some fun.
Yeah.
And we'll coach the freshmen. So we coached the freshmen to a 5-5 record, 4-6 or 5-5 record. We were not great.
But I'll tell you what, some of the best memories are at that
Oh, yeah.
freshman level.
Yeah.
Much easier week, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thursday after the game,
It's
you can
the best.
relax.
It was
yeah.
the best, but nowhere near kind of this guy's record right here.
Yeah, well, when
We
you
were,
win
not many
119
people
games.
are.
exactly. So
Coach
we,
Griffin here.
It's that UCLA education, right?
Bingo.
That's right.
But that year taught. I mean, me personally, more about coaching. I was involved in the pass game a ton at Tribuco, and with the varsity level, when we went to the freshman, I had to learn how to coach, a bunch of kids run fits, and how we're going to block this and how we're going to do that. And we had to get creative. We didn't have we had a kind of a wildcat quarterback, so that got fun. And still to this day, I learned lessons that I lean on in the run game from that year. So Scott got hired in 2011 at CdM. I was actually got hired by Rob Frith when he was at El Toro to coordinate the offense in January.
Okay.
I took my 1 year break, and now I was going to go, and I needed to kind of get going. So I was with Rob for about 2 months. I told Rob, hey, the only two guys, if I get a chance to coach with Chad Johnson or Dan OShea again, that's the only way I'm going to pull the plug on anything. And then
sure enough,
Scott got hired. He gets hired at CdM,
right?
And then Dan's like, "Hey, I'm going." And I had sat down and talked to Rob. He was awesome. The guy's a great dude now down at San Juan Hills,
right?
And I still remember the conversation. We were like at Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that. Where we met. And I'm like, dude, I got to do this. I got to go. And so Dan and I were both teaching at Tribuco from 2011 until we took over in 2015. Both teaching there and making the drive every day back and forth.
It's crazy how it all goes full circle. Like,
Yeah.
you meet a coach and we've met you several times this year and everybody knows everybody in the coaching community. It's such a great fraternity. Coach OShea, we were texting back and forth with him. He gave you very high praise. He said you were the best OC in the OC.
Yeah.
Best offensive coordinator in Orange County, basically. So that leads me to my next question. You've had all these stops and all these journeys. Talk about the guys that have been influential to you and really, helped you in your progression to where you've become a head coach now. Like, who's been the major influences on you in coaching?
Honestly, it's the guys that we started with to start, right? It was Jason and Chad and those guys,
right.
and along the way, you pick up little bits from everybody. I mean, guys that we play against, like even talking to Coach Bailey up at Yorba Linda, and we've had a relationship with him, me not as much as Danny, but been around him
right.
enough to see what he does with his program. And you kind of steal ideas, and I really like that. I really like
that's
this.
kind of one of the best things is when
Yeah.
you see another team on film, like, I love that play. And you
Yeah.
kind of take
Yeah.
their stuff and give them
We
credit
were watching
for
a
that.
couple of your games this year, and like I said, we're up on the roof, and as football coaches and guys who know football, you kind of have that moment where you look at each other like, did you just see that? I can't tell you how many times this year when we're watching a CdM game, your offense does something, and we're just kind of looking at each other, and we're like, we got to
put
tell
that in.
our friend about
Right,
that.
right.
We text our buddy, hey, put
look
this
at,
in.
Look at this
Right.
play.
And I'm telling you,
Look what Hettig just called here.
Well, I mean it when I say it. We have strengths and weaknesses at CdM, right? Like we have to kind of call around some things and figure out. It'd be sweet if we could line up in slot and pro every play and run
Right.
two-back power down somebody's throat and hold the ball for 30 minutes a game. That'd be
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's not who we are, and it's fine. We've embraced what we are, and we try to put our guys in situations and positions where they could be successful, and that's coaching.
I mean, you do a great job of that. I
appreciate
mean,
that.
watching Razor throw to Hoke, and
Yeah.
I mean, Colin Penny's going to be a stud
He's a
next year
stud,
coming back for you.
yeah.
Your offense is electric,
Giuliano,
and fun
I
to
played with his
watch.
dad, El Toro. He's only a sophomore.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Giuliano and his brother, because his brother Scott was unbelievable for us as a tight end.
Right.
And Scott came in as a quarterback. He transferred down as a quarterback,
Wow.
and his junior year, he never really got a full off season to go at tight end.
Right.
His junior year, we were playing Palos Verdes, and we were out of bodies. We got a tight end hurt or two, and we're like, hey Scott, we're going to move you down to Y. And you're a smart kid, we'll figure it. He's like, okay. And little did we know, he was like the toughest kid on the planet. Like he was like a
He found out
jiu-jitsu
quick,
kid,
right.
And he found out quick, and he cut his teeth real quick, and it was fun. Now Zach, he's got a chance to grow into the position, right? He's got
Right.
2 more years. He'll have a couple off seasons and running routes and 7-on and stuff like that. So we're excited.
got
about
that
him.
frame.
He's got the frame. He's got the frame you can't teach, right? I mean, that's the deal with him.
So as a varsity coach, you kind of get to see the lower levels, JV and freshmen, what you got coming down the future. So Coach Griffin, what's the process for you like? I mean, you get these freshmen in summer camp. Some of them you might know from the neighborhood, but others you don't. How do you build such a phenomenal freshman program like you've done?
Well, that's nice of you to say. First off, and I'm not trying to pump your tires, but it's easy when the parents know that the process, and they're going to ultimately be playing for Kevin or Dan.
Right.
They come in committed. And I think we've done a good job of embracing the kids that come in. We have talented kids. It's easy to have a good record when you guys show up and
Great
Good-
neighborhood.
good players make good coaches.
And all these kids grew up
They
together.
all grew up together. Right. And, it's funny. We get 100% attendance at every
Wow.
practice.
Wow.
We've never gotten an email from a parent complaining.
Dude, I'm
not one.
Are you trying to sell us? Because I don't have those nice non-problems, to say the least.
And college coaches come through CdM, and they see what Kevin's doing up on a board, and their jaw drops.
Right.
And they said, your kids can do this? And Kevin said, yeah, every time I install a play, with 25 kids, I'm the dumbest guy in the room. All our kids take 4 APs, and Juliana, you talked about, he's at Harvard with Max Lane, and these guys are
Razor's
smart.
going to UC.
UC Davis,
Right.
and we had 3 on the Stanford roster a year ago. They're
Well,
just smart kids, and they're tough and they're dedicated, and we get great parental support. So the fun part is I have 3 boys who played through the program.
Okay.
Kevin raised my 3 sons, and now I don't know anybody. So on the first day of it's exciting, like,
Right.
oh, good, this looks like a good crew. And this year we had some studs show up, and I didn't know who they were, but oh my gosh, you guys are, and just get out of the way, because
You
can't
see,
screw
you see a
this
kid
up.
walk on the field. You're like, wait, you're going to play on my team?
Yeah.
You're like, wow.
And I saw a couple of these kids run this year and went, oh my goodness, here we go. So it's exciting we don't really have the attractive off seasons. We want the
Right.
neighborhood kids who come up and let's roll.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can't predict the future, but like, how was the freshman team this year?
I would the one coming in.
Right.
I would have no idea.
How'd you guys fare last year?
Oh, our freshman team.
Yeah.
We went 10-0 last year.
So those guys that are going to be sophomores now.
They'll be dudes who play.
Yeah, there will be sophomores that
they'll
contribute on Friday.
That's awesome.
And they'll be dudes who play.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, and, you mentioned that like those kids all kind of stick around, they grow up together. I think Annette's the great story. I mean, he could very easily have gone to potentially another school because of his abilities, but he's a CDM guy. He wants to be there. And
Caleb
now he's
Annette.
gonna- Annette, yeah.
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 So there's a lot of value in that.
I think so.
How
And the reality of it is now these guys have built such a program where they provide a menu where you want to just be a part of a team. They value that guy
Right.
just as much as Mark Redmond, who had an Alabama offer.
Well, you got to
So-
have scout team guys.
Yeah, and again, they value everybody on the team, and I think that's what makes it special. Is there's no hierarchy based on the amount of touchdowns you get. So now you want to go play at Alabama? Yeah, come here. We can get you
Yeah.
there.
Right.
been there, done that. We've got
And
proof.
every quarterback literally every quarterback that Kevin's coached has went on to play college sports.
I mean, we were talking about that before the show started today. How great Garbers looked the other day in the UCLA game.
Yeah, and then his
Legend
brother
of the-
suited
Chase was the
up for the
backup, yeah,
Raiders.
on Sunday,
It's crazy. So.
How long has your freshman staff been together? Is that that's a little trickier? Is
Well,
that,
Jason Clark,
Yeah, that's
who
my
you know,
boy
who
from
you played
UCLA.
at
Oh yeah.
UCLA, so
You
he's
go
been there forever. So kind of the core guys have been around for.
So you've had a good group. You're all on the same
15
page.
years.
You all
It's
get
fun.
to,
We all know what we're doing, and we all know our strengths and weaknesses, and it's
Hey,
fun.
play to it. That's good.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, Coach, it's your first season as the head coach, but you've been at CDM for a while. Is there one memory that sticks out? And I'm sure there's plenty of good ones that you look back and go, man, that was just a real special moment, or what? Maybe there's a couple.
Yeah, there's a couple. I think the one that kind of sticks out first, and this is just jumps, and if I had some time to think about it, I probably have some better ones. But Grace Brethren in 19, the CIF championship game. That was such an emotional, because that group was so special that came up together, and that wasn't in the group. Ethan and Humphreys and Redmond and these guys got a lot of attention, but it was the whole unit that was awesome that year. And for us to lose to that team up there at Grace in 2018, the CIF title game, and to see our guys gut it on the field, and then to know that they had that incentive structure that we're going to get back and we're going to see these guys again next year. This is before the CIF divisions were what they are now, right? We
Right.
knew we were going to be the same divisions as
Right.
next year, and we knew we'd see them again. Henderson did a great job coaching up there. He had dudes coming back, and it was going to be a war a year from now. We kind of had it circled. Well, next year we're going to play Grace in the CIF title game.
Was that the year you
And-
played Nordoff in the regionals?
No, Nordhoff, that was 13.
Okay.
That was
Right.
13.
You broadcast it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
that
Cool.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
So
there.
so and that night was so special in 19. So we got him literally 367 days later, whatever it was.
Right.
And for our offense to do and to answer the questions that we had from 18, for our defense to stick it out and was playing against a monster offensive line with good backs, a good quarterback, and get the couple stops in that game that we needed to watch Ethan and those guys play pretty much perfect offense. We were 8 for 8 on drives for touchdowns that
Wow.
week. And to win a game like that, and to look at guys, every guy, whether it's Tanner Thomas on his side, whether it's Ethan, and hugging Ethan after the game, and us both crying, like,
Yeah.
and the thing that's so special about this game is in this job, right, is there's not a lot of professions you could have where your highs are so high that you're in tears and your lows are so low that you're in tears.
Right.
No, you're
You know,
absolutely
and
right
this
about
thing
that.
and that's one of those nights where it was like it was a pretty high.
Yeah.
And that's one that sticks out early. And every year, you know, there's been some signature wins and some things
Sure.
that we've done. You know, the first one, you know, back in 2013, the state title that we won. Obviously, there's special moments that whole time, and it was awesome. But for whatever reason, that 19 team just sticks out.
Yeah.
It just that was something really cool, and it was our guys. We built it from new. We weren't
scratch.
trying.
It
to
wasn't
get
like your
kids
first
from-
year and different guy. Yeah,
Right. We
it was
weren't it wasn't a transactional thing.
Right.
It was real.
It's
It was
almost
raw.
dreamlike. Like I remember I was part of a staff that won a CIF title, and I remember waking up the next morning, and I was kind of like, "Did that really just happen?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's awesome.
it's not just the moment, but it stays with you for a
Right.
while, and it's you're right. It's so rewarding coaching football, and like, you know, high school football is a great teacher and a great metaphor for life, and you learn so many valuable lessons. And I mean, we just look forward to watching you take CDM and, you know, to the next level.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach OShea, 80, 18-1 in his career there.
Nothing
He
wrong with that.
3 CIF finals appearances, two league titles, a state and a CIF championship.
Yeah.
What a wonderful program CDM is, and you know they gave the keys to the Ferrari to the right guy.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, they
Don't
did.
crash it, right?
I mean,
give it 6 months. It'll be off the rails.
Hey,
We'll
Murph,
be
can we
okay.
pull up the Manning cam? All right, so what I've got here is a couple photos, and I just want to get your reaction.
Who's that guy there?
What am I looking at
Look
here?
at all that hair.
by the way, Coach, diehard Raiders fan, so that is a
man.
great picture.
Oh man.
Look at that.
Add
That's,
anything to that?
I think that's like a Christmas morning or something like that. I just can't stop looking at the hair.
Look at that.
I just
The
can't
blonde?
stop. Man, the
I
waviness.
know we're all kind
and
of in
the-
that boat.
God dang it.
All right, well, let's progress a couple years.
Okay.
Hey, Yucca
Yeah,
Valley.
Yeah, there it is. The tape on the wrist, that was for looks, by the way. I didn't have anything.
Oh,
What
you
year did you
didn't have,
graduate, by the
Yeah,
way?
it just looked
The
cool. Try to
signs?
get the forearms.
What year did you
bigger.
graduate high school?
2000.
2000. Okay.
Yeah, so spring of 2000.
And Yucca Valley, you said, is the high desert? Where is that by?
It's 25, 30 miles north of Palm Springs.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
up the grade from Palm Springs on the way up to like Big Bear-ish if you're going to go that
Got it.
way.
Got it.
And the one thing about baseball out there is the wind would blow in the spring like no other. It would be super hot and then super cold.
Would it blow in, blow out,
blow
or
in,
left or
blow
right?
in. So
Just- okay.
those were our
That's why you didn't hit so many home
I
runs.
would have had
Right.
at least
Yeah, yeah.
15,
Flames
20
the
bombs.
wall.
What position
That
were
was
you?
it. I was in high school. I was an infielder. I was a first baseman.
Okay.
I was more of a hitter than a position player. But
What position you play in college?
I moved to the outfield in college.
Kind of like
in
a
the fall. I
Paul
was down there.
Goldschmidt type guy?
Yeah,
Where'd you-
pretty much.
there
Where'd you go to
go.
college?
I went to UC San Diego.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
All
I only
right.
played there for my first year there. I wasn't
What
there.
do we got here?
All right. Gene Simmons.
Okay.
Coach.
That
we
was
almost
actually,
opened up with Kiss, by the
that's-
way.
That is, I have not seen that picture in a long time. That's a.
What's the story behind this? That's good stuff, Coach.
Yeah, so
I got my spies working on
so
Hey, we got a bass
I don't
over
know
there.
where
You
you
can play
got
like
this
Gene
thing.
Simmons.
Yeah, but that was so in our high school we did this thing called the Rock Off, and my dad and my mom were both teachers there for forever, from for 40 or 35 years or whatever. But
Right.
it was a fundraiser for like a scholarship for kids, and it was an air band competition. We actually won it.
Nice.
And basically you just lip sync. We had like fake blood capsules. We were spitting everywhere.
Oh,
and stuff.
nice,
It was
nice.
awesome.
What song did you go with?
I want to rock and roll all night.
Nice.
All right.
Coach Griffin, you've never seen this picture,
I
have
have
you?
not.
Yeah.
I'm
The
worried
look on
sick.
your-
I'm
the
worried
look on
sick
your
I'm
right
kind
face
of
is
worried
priceless.
seeing that thing. The makeup was good. I think,
Yeah, whoever did your
yeah.
makeup,
No, I mean,
that's
if I
perfect.
didn't know any
You're
better.
committed.
Yeah, I
You're
was fully
embracing
committed.
it.
You even got the
Fully
little
committed.
like pom pom thing.
Yeah, it was
that
the-
Gene
it was the
Simmons
best. It
rocked,
was
you
the
know?
Go
best.
all in on everything. All right, Coach, you'll probably recognize this one, both of you.
That's a
There it
great
is.
picture.
That was a good night, man. It was funny because
That was the state
that was
championship,
state
right?
championship night at Cerritos College, and that was another one. I mean, that was a game that obviously stands out. And what was cool about that game is against Oceanside, we almost let that thing slip away, right? We had this great win against Grace Brethren that we talked about earlier,
Right.
And then we go and play Oceanside. We thought we were going to get. We didn't know how the state was going to do it. We thought we were going to get, another San Diego team, and they gave us Oceanside. And we're like, okay, we
Carlsbad
match
maybe?
up.
They're
No,
usually
it was
pretty good.
down south further. I forget
Or like
the name of the
Lincoln
team.
or somebody like that, yeah.
But anyways, we ended up getting Oceanside. They had to come to our place in the state semis, and we didn't take them for granted, but we just played terrible. We were still coming down from the Grace win.
Right.
We had, I think, 5 fumbles, either gaining a first down or on first down, all turned over. We didn't recover any of them.
Wow.
Our defense played lights out, and that's again what's so special. Like that year was awesome.
When they kind of let one side of the ball off the hook. and
Right,
it's
to
like,
let us off
yes,
the hook.
it's
I
a
think we
team
scored.
sport.
We won 14-7. Mason Jekowitz, outside linebacker, had the tackle of the century on the 1-inch line to keep him out at the end of the game.
Nice.
And then rolling into this one, we had our flirt with disaster in that semifinal game, and we knew we were going to go be really good against a very good Sarah team.
Right.
In this game, and it was a great game. They came back late and got a couple onside kicks, and it got kind of funky at the end. Tommy Griffin actually picked off the last pass to win the game.
Okay,
Puts it
that's a
on
great
ice.
feeling. Then you're taking the knee,
But
knowing you got
we're
it.
taking the knee, and no better playing football than that. And
Yeah.
Victory formation.
yeah.
one.
So that was a good one.
All right, last one. And then you're off the hook.
Oh,
Yeah.
the bling.
The bling.
I had no idea how big that was until I saw your radio announcer or the guy who announced the games.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in the booth. I'm like, what is that on the
Who gets the credit for designing that?
That was me.
You designed that?
You that thing, yeah.
That's a great
Yes.
job.
I think I may have started prematurely during
is
the
awesome. It's
a
during the
great
Oceanside
ring.
week, and probably should have spent more time on ball security.
Yeah,
less
right.
Time
On
designing a
design.
ring.
You designed that?
But yeah,
you ever thought about going into jewelry
I know,
design as a
right?
career?
Well,
I mean,
Balfour,
look at
I
that.
run this off the track, so it'll be a place where I'll end up. But Balfour ring company was awesome, and they do all kinds of custom stuff with their rings.
Right.
So we were able to put it was the 7th bell we won. We were able to put on the left, you can kind of see there's the bell.
Oh, I see, yep.
And it said Battle of the Bay ×7 or something like that. We got it on the other side of it, we had
That thing is beautiful.
a Golden Gate Bridge all the way down to palm trees in San Diego. and Hollywood
Kevin's
sign.
a Kardashian.
Yeah, it was
and
pretty
Yeah,
good.
right.
So, well,
was pretty good.
So, any other coaches out there, regardless of the sport, cross country, track and field,
Right.
football, baseball, if you win a CIF title, you need to call Kevin Hettig at Corona Del Mar High School.
I don't know if I'm going to have the
He
time
will
anymore.
design a ring for you.
Danny to yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
Wow.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, we really appreciate you coming down and spending some time with us. Was there anything you'd like to say or we haven't brought up that just...
No, I mean...
We really love covering you guys. You guys have done a great job. And
Appreciate it.
Awesome
Appreciate
program.
that.
So
Thank
much
you
fun at
guys
the
so
games.
much.
Yeah, you guys do such a great job.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to cover such a great football program like the one you guys have.
Awesome,
And we
man.
look forward to this next year too. It's going to
Cool.
be great.
Appreciate it.
Thank
We're
you, gentlemen.
excited.
Is your non-league all set? Are you looking for any games? You can give a plug real quickly.
No,
week 2, week
we're
3?
good, man. We picked up Cypress and Trabuco Hills, and
Okay.
we lost
Cool.
San Juan and Los Gatos. So yeah, we're all set.
And you still
We're
got
all
the
set.
tradition. Is that who's the brother? Is that your brother lives up north and
I grew up there. And
Los
my mom,
Gatos.
my
Okay, so-
mom still lives up there,
Okay.
and I have a bunch of friends who coach for Los Gatos. So
Okay.
we've gone up 3 times in Northern California, which is
and
it's
you
a
still got
sweet
that
trip.
tradition
Yeah,
going?
Yeah, we're
good.
taking a year off, but we'll be doing it again in the future.
That's awesome.
Good deal. Well, guys, thank you again.
Thank you so
coming.
much for
Thanks, you
joining
guys
us.
for having us. Appreciate you guys.
Awesome.